We want to say to the media house, the learners has been given to us for 12 years. We have tried our level best, irrespective whether they are progress or not progress learners. They have been given to us, they have been part of our system. And as the Department of Education, we have tried our level best to prepare our learners to be where we are today. And we're taking stock today in terms of the support we have rendered to our learners over the years, the support that we have received from stakeholders sitting here with us today and many others. We want to say to our media house, it has been a collective effort to get our Matric class where it is today. It was not only us, but it was our educators, our parents, our DFs, our SGDs, our donors, our sponsors, our unions. And our MEC has made a very profound statement to say our province has been very stable for the past number of years. And we are very grateful to our unions. We are very grateful to our teachers for the sacrifices they have made. And we are grateful to you sitting here as a media house, because we know you are supporting us. You will go outside with a message to say to our learners, you are standing behind them to make sure they're succeeding, because you have been where they have been and you understand it much better than also the way they understand it. So this is a very important day for us. It's a really important day where we want to say now, we are ready. But although we're saying we are ready, a human being will always be a human being, and in your mind you will always have that sense of doubt, that sense of anxiety, that sense of fear. And this is where we need to come in now with emotional and spiritual support. This is where we call upon our religious bodies to say, it doesn't matter what faith you belong to. We need you to pray to our God. We need you to stand with our learners through this period of time. We want to say to our parents, this is the time you need to put in that extra effort to make sure we support our learners. And therefore today we are standing in unison with DBE, with our local municipality. And I want to assure you what's happening here, it's also taking place in other districts. On the 18th of October, we will sign the pledge with our learners, and we want to invite you to join us. This is a national event that will take place in every school. The commitment of our learners to say that I will adhere to the policies of the Department of Education, and I will write my examinations with fairness, openness, and transparency. So allow me to thank my MEC and the stakeholders here, and especially you that has walked this journey with us throughout the year. This is not our first media briefing. You have been around us, you have supported, you have written good stories about us, you have also challenged us, so thank you for that.
We are gathered here today in this session of marking the last mile of our preparations for the 2024 National Senior Certificate Examinations. We term this phase the last push of the department, as it marks the final support stages in the Grade 12 Learner Support Framework of the department. Let hasten to express our sincere word of gratitude to the University of Western Cape, the local government SITA, for their support in Sarah Batman. I heard, of course, that this support will be extended for over next 3 years or so. The Sarah Batman District Municipality and London Local Municipality for the unwavering support of the Grade 12 class of 2024 in this particular area. This is one area that I've already said, that with the collaboration and understanding that we have with other entities and also other government spheres, we have been able to make a mark. The 2024 examinations are huge, and the numbers have improved in the province, and it becomes a worrying factor, but quite a positive one, as I've said earlier on, because currently we have got 117,762 learners that will be undertaking the writing of the National Senior Certificate Examinations in 2024. Quite a very huge number, which then is a reflection that there is an improvement of learners, in particular in the FET band in the Eastern Cape Department of Education. Of course, you can attribute that to a number of phases of interventions that have been done, either via corporate governance, either via the local municipalities that I've talked about, and also the dedication and commitment of the sector, and also the educators that we have, the breed of the educators that we have in the province. The 102,073 of those learners are full-time candidates, and 15,698 of those learners are part-time candidates. You see, so it shows that the system is maturing, but equally is becoming more attractive to various areas of focus. Hence, you could see that this number has improved from the number that we have in 2023, but also it informs that from a planning point of view, government will have to take an initiative. I was talking to the top management and say, the goodness of the results you have in the province could be a catastrophe if your planning is not properly. Because once learners increase, it means an increase on the infrastructure planning. Once learners increase and the results increase, it means also increase on the human resource that must be appointed via either teachers or psychosocial services or whatever technical support that is going to be needed. So there is always a room for making sure that when the system is growing, there must always be innovation to take that system up and also make sure that it doesn't fail and collapse with the kids of the people. In terms of the goals that we have set for ourselves, colleagues, on the last push that we are launching today, the overarching goals of this NSC examinations last push constitute the last support in terms of the framework that we have adopted. One is the increase of the numbers and the quality of grade 12 pass in 2024 that we must be focusing on. The improvement of the quality of bachelor passes in the National Senior Certificate Examinations, again, that must also improve from what we had in the previous academic year. But also improve the number of the distinctions in grade 12, improve the number of the passes in mathematics and science, improve the overall throughput rate in line with the national norms and standards. We are putting an emphasis on maths and science. I think you have noted that. The reason is that this is a maths and science province. If you want a throughput overall, you must master the art and skill of ensuring that maths and science is being passed. Precisely because the Eastern Cape has got more learners that are doing pure maths and pure physical science. They are close to 38,000, if I'm not mistaken. There are close to 38,000 kids that are doing math and science here. So in essence, it means your strategic focus, your strategic intervention, if it doesn't talk to this, you run a risk of not getting the intended objectives that you have in your mind. So that does not suggest that other subjects or learning areas are not important. But from a figurative point of view, where is your target and how should you master the art and skill of that? So that's basically what we are reporting about here, colleagues. The last push by design deals with the practical support strategies that enable learners to deal with the challenging aspects of examinations during this period. We implore the districts to strengthen monitoring of teaching and learning in their schools. We are employing again the subject advisors to identify areas of intervention and develop sources, revision material that will strengthen the revision and also the consolidation of the classes. The teachers to adhere to all policy principles, including the recovery of the ATPs, exam guidelines, chief markers, reports and diagnostic report. Schools camps to conduct targeted mediation of recovery of ATPs, exam guidelines, chief markers, reports and diagnostic report to strengthen the revision materials. Support structures to focus on intensive approaches to revision and agree on the relevance and reliable of material that must be used. So this also talks to what has been the lessons in the past, what have you picked in the process, and what then becomes your intervention. Now, it then says you needed a scientific research methodology to deal with this, and which the province have been able to pick it up. And hence we are talking of ensuring that the districts manage and monitor this process, and also subject advisors identifying weaknesses in the processes. The team of the Eastern Cape colleagues have visited KZN during the beginning of the year. The recent DDG DPE was to look at the commonalities between Eastern Cape and KZN, but equally look why Eastern Cape and KZN consistently have improvement of results. If you look very closely in terms of the national examination analysis, KZN is consistently improving results academically around 7% every year. Eastern Cape is improving results around 5 to 5.5 almost every academic year. So there are similarities. But we then said, fine, look at what is best that they are doing differently from what we are doing. And we picked up that their strategies more focusing on subject advisors and e-tools, which then gives them a leverage of coverage in terms of how many schools that are best performing in this particular circuit and why. So that you don't have a single principal of a school in a circuit that is performing and the rest is not performing. So how do you spread the capacity and the skill of this individual principal via the circuit management methodology, so that you can spread and multiply that capacity and the skill? So basically, that's the approach this academic year, so that you can be able to multiply as much possible as you can in ensuring that you deal with any deficiency that has been there in the past in the system, but also live to the expectations of the targets that we have set for ourselves. Remember, the Eastern Cape people have said we must get 85%. That one is scientific, that one is researched, that one is going to be achieved. By the way, it has been achieved in the first quarter, during the course of the year. The task here is to maintain what has happened in the first quarter by March. It's not just about getting that 85%. 85% we a long time got it in the first quarter. So how do you maintain the momentum, and how do you push the system to the limit so that it doesn't crack, but also it doesn't fail the people of the province and also the kids that we're talking about? That is going to need resources. What resources have we put in place to make sure that the strategy does succeed? Now, the department has availed an array of resources, colleagues, that are available to learners for support and the consolidation. That includes the following. One, an exams readiness booklet to inform revision and last push activities. Abantwana funeka bayazi ba yintoni elindelekileyo examinations, both in terms of content and also in terms of psychosocial readiness. Uburedi bomntana bokufunda memorize what is written on the book. Emotionally, are they ready? Have you been able to eliminate social ills that could disrupt them in the process of writing examinations? So that's what basically we're talking about here. Hence we're saying bring that readiness booklet so that they can be able to make sure that both in terms of content and also in terms of form, these kids are ready. Target the static guides in high enrollment subjects dealing with the challenges of the topics. Our teachers have been able to identify what are these topics that consistently are becoming a problem in the country. And how do you use the privilege that we have as a province of having the best teachers in the country? The mathematics best teachers are here in the province for the country. The science teachers are here, the best ones in the province. So how do you have a leverage on that? And how do you utilize the targeted high enrollment subjects? Because beyond the quality of the results, you need to make sure that kids get through the process. But of course, your eyes not being taken out of the results that are expected. The past question papers that must be made available, downloaded by the department through its own website, make it available to all kids in the province, make it available to all kids in the districts, make it available to them such that they can even utilize it post the academic period within the timetables that they have. So that right through the period, you are able to ensure that you minimize disruptions to those kids. From a government's point of view, again, utilize the broadcasting studios that we have just launched now. Take all those good, expert, senior teachers in the province to broadcasting studios, so for the benefit of all learners in the system. If, for example, I'm a good maths teacher, I must then be converted into a provincial teacher, not a school-based teacher. So that all those kids that are doing the same subject that I'm teaching, they are able to benefit out of the expertise that I have. So that's the strategy. Hence, we launched the broadcasting studios at that particular time. So for the benefit of the entire ecosystem of learning that we have. But also the broadcasting lessons via Umhlobo Wenene. The memorandum of understanding that we have with the Umhlobo Wenene Radio FM. How do we utilize it so that kids can be able also to benefit out of that? In terms of the readiness, colleagues, because we must also put logistics in place so that we can be able to make sure that we don't fail those kids. I am happy to announce that we are ready for the 2024 examinations in all respects, colleagues. As you may all recall, we are responsible for the examinations of all grade 1 to grade 12 learners in the province. And that includes public schools, approved independent schools, as well as approved designated examination centers for learners in improving their results. The public examinations are generally used to satisfy students who have reached a prescribed level of learning, as well as selected learners for the next level of education system or for the employment. They are defined primarily in terms of their purpose, to certify and select students based on an assessment of their achievements in the curriculum area. To ensure that the 2024 National Senior Certificate Examination is credible and error-free, the department is judged on how it manages the following 8 areas. This is very important. Kids can pass, kids can fail. What is the credibility of the product? How do you make sure that the process is credible and has got an integrity? Because remember, grade 12 examinations in particular has got an international undertone. Some of the kids here may not learn here in terms of the tertiary institutions in the country. So you must meet the international standards here. Beyond the national standards, you must meet the international standards. And therefore, what are these areas that needed to be checked up, which the system, we have been able to do that. And if you look very closely to our own DDG, our performance, beyond just 81%, 4% pass rate, we have been able for the past 3 years to have examinations-free incident examinations. That's one area that needed to be closely monitored. So we need to make sure that our centers and learners are accurately registered. No mistake. All eyes on the ball. Register centers and learners properly, meticulously, so that there are no coming backs of any kind. High quality question papers of the appropriate standard. No leakages, no what. So as to maintain this international undertone that I'm talking about. Because more than them having passed, what is the national integrity of the papers that were wrote to those nations that might absorb those kids when they pass here? So beyond just being passed, what then becomes a security feature in terms of ensuring that there are no leakages, there's nothing, everything has to be properly managed. To secure the moment of the question papers from origination to the examination venues. I was talking to the HOD and the DPE, and I was saying, if the country wants us to proceed quite very well in education, not in education in fact, somebody must take a bold step on rural development strategy and not localize about this. Stop localizing about rural development. For example, if there could be a disaster here or a storm of rain, what are you going to do? Are you going to say the Department of Education must build roads? So you need a very well-structured, coordinated, aggressive rural development strategy in this country, so that schools are accessible. Whether rain comes, whether rain does not come, you don't have an excuse of having to go for an alternative paper. Why? Because the rain has disrupted the examinations ecosystem. So I'm saying, this security talks to that. You are not going to take papers and put them elsewhere. Why? Because rain can come. No. There are policies that regulate examinations here. And I'm saying for you to realize that objective, you need to go beyond the sector's policies and say, from a government's point of view, what is it that we are not doing properly? What is it that needed to be checked up? How do you secure the integrity of the national projects that we are engaged on? And hence I'm saying, this is the summer season. And we have got lessons in the past that you must not take them for granted. So that you don't subject kids into unnecessary psychological trauma of having to postpone papers on the basis that there's been rainfall or there's been disasters in one way or another. So I'm making this particular call that there must be an aggressive rural development plan that deals quite aggressively on rural development, so that we can be able to make an achievement that is noticeable on a number of a range of issues. Also, colleagues, the issue of the marking of the appropriate standard applicable to every examination script, that belongs to us. We've got credible markers, credible educators that understands the language that must be used, that understands what must be done, the accuracy of resulting, the detection of management of irregularities. We must pick that as early as possible and avoid it. Because remember, once there is an irregularity of any kind in any kit, that kit is suspended for three consecutive examinations in terms of the policy in this country. If by any chance a teacher becomes excited and makes the kids to copy, the victim of that process is more a learner than a teacher, because that learner will have to be suspended for 3 consecutive examinations in this country. So that's why we must avoid any irregularity. We must avoid any irregularity that could cost dearly those kids. That the issue of the certificates on time, to deal with the issue of emotions the parents have, to deal with the issue of the kids psychological and emotional wise. Hence I'm saying to you earlier on, this is a very sensitive period. If we don't psychologically deal with the state of readiness of the kids, they usually take their lives. They usually take their lives once they are not sure of what is going to happen to them. So you must be very sensitive. So it's not just about writing examinations, it's about making sure that these kids are sustained moving forward, and nothing that must psychologically disrupt them in the process. So hence I'm saying, for us, it's more than just writing an examination and get a pass. The scope and scale of the assessment in the province, colleagues, as we are closing, the department is fully ready to administer all forms of assessment. We are legally required to undertake the following: public examinations for the National Senior Certificate qualifications, grade 11 provincial examinations are currently going to be underway. Grade 9 GEC pilot for 203 schools is underway. AET examinations on behalf of DET is currently underway. Grade 3 pilot assessment on the provincial ready strategy for 202 primary schools at 11,200 learners in Sarabhatman is currently underway. The key timelines that we must all observe. We're working within a regulated environment here. We're working within a regulated environment here. The key timelines that must be observed by everyone here. The period starting from the 18th of October to 16th of January is set aside for several critical public examinations activities, as namely as the following. 1, the writing of the National Senior Certificate as from the 21st of October 2024, to 28th of November 2024. Please note that the candidates shall receive their individual timetables, admission letters on the 16th to 17th of October, so that you are within the regulated period. You are within the regulated period. The examination material, the so-called mark sheets, admission letters, CAT and IT, and the attendance registers will be printed on the 4th to 11th of October. Strictly. Not 5 minutes afterwards, not 2 minutes before. Strictly on the scheduled time. So that you don't create any suspicion in the process, and you don't create any messaging that might come back and haunt you. The distribution of the school-based assessment mark sheets to schools from the 12th to 13th of October, the distribution of exam material including admission letters for all candidates will be collected by the district on the 9th to 11th of October. SBA marks capturing will take place on the 28th of October to the 17th of November. That's one area that you must mark. Remember, in terms of the standards in the country, you have got a school-based assessment, which is 25%. And that capturing must be done in that particular period. And it is regulated. There are no fixing up of anything there. You just have to do it according to the letter of the book. The mop-up, including irregularities, will be done on the 16th of December at the head office, that is in the TPE. If there is any irregularity in any province, by the 16th of December, that must be done. So that you don't keep parents waiting, you don't keep those kids waiting and ended up taking their lives. So you just have to stick to the book and make sure that everything that is done accordingly to the book. Checking of the preliminary results by the district officials on the 2nd and 5th of January. Resulting will be done by the 7th of January by the systems administrator and assistant systems administrator. Downloading of the results by the USAF on the 15th of January. That is what is expected, colleagues, in the sector. So if you listen to us, it's preparation of kids from the beginning of the year, preparation of kids before they write examinations, preparation of kids and monitoring them during the examinations, making sure that systems are meticulously applied to, making sure that you respond to the prescripts, to the latter of the sector. And then that will give you the credible results that the nation wants. And there will be few questions about the integrity and the credibility of the results that must be given by the country to the nation. Let me thank all of you for having attended, and I wish the 2024 grade 12 class a good luck in their national examinations, but also at the back of their mind that the province expects nothing less than that 85%, which they've already done in the first quarter and in other quarters, so that you reposition the province and reclaim the lost ground. But critically to that is to build a system that is responsive, but equally making sure that the kids don't just pass, but access tertiary institutions. So there is going to be a need of a discussion about TTG, the absorption rate of the higher institutions in the country. It's going to be a thorn in the flesh of TPE that will produce a huge number of learners that pass, but there is a lesser absorption of them when it comes to higher education. So that discussion must begin and be able to unlock any bottlenecks. If it is about the points, Let's open up and discuss that. There is no single household that sends kids in order for them to get a certificate. The reason households are sending kids to schools is for those households to have their lives changed. So if then this issue of numbers gain and also is quantified in terms of the socio-economic conditions of those households is responding to that question, then the system is capable of building a learned nation, and a system is capable of rejuvenating, rebuilding the economy that we have, because the skills are produced here. This is a skills center. So when you talk about skills in the country, you are talking of basic education. So that's why I'm then saying we just have to make sure that we are meticulous in that particular plan. Thank you, DG, and thank you, HOD, and thank you, the program director.